precariously employed immigrant and newcomer women living in the Oak Ridge, Taylor, Massey, and surrounding East Danforth neighborhoods. I've had the pleasure of calling these Scarborough neighborhoods my home since I came to Canada with my family in 2006. I'm also aware that my home, like many others, have long been designated as neighborhood improvement areas for the past 20 years due to the poor economic, social, and health outcomes. Neighborhoods like ours, which have been celebrated for its ambience, diversity, and vibrance, have always been in crisis. Shame! For many years now, we have been sounding the alarms about the impacts of austerity measures on communities like ours, where residents have the least economic and social protections and resources. Alongside the crisis in housing, transportation, schools, food insecurity, and general unaffordability that my colleagues have and many will address today, we have been sounding the alarms on the widespread reality of precarious employment, especially affecting many city jobs. Lack of access to childcare due to limited spaces and cuts to subsidies, and cuts to a number of violence prevention, social, health, recreation programs for low-income families, women, youth, gender-diverse individuals, and individuals with precarious status or without status. Shame! These realities have long been normalized in our city and worsened since the COVID-19 pandemic and is infecting other communities and sectors, leaving more of us to scramble for a shrinking pool of resources and supports while we blame our city's most vulnerable who were excluded to begin with. Shame! Underlying these crises is a growing frustration about Toronto's democratic process. Each of our 25 city wards are more underserviced than before, and more of us are alienated from the decision-making process of our city governance. All of this while families shoulder the economic and social burdens created by employers, created by businesses and private entities who continue to pay far less than their fair share in public services which we rely on. Shame! Toronto is uniquely positioned to model a creative and stronger public policies and programs. We echo the calls for a budget that's responsive to the public needs. The city must implement a public standard of employment across all city services and all contracted city services that guarantees a living wage and dignified work conditions. The city must increase access to childcare by revisiting Toronto's childcare strategy to support the aforementioned public standard of employment for childcare workers, safeguard subsidies, and expand childcare spaces to meet at least 80% of the child population in Toronto. The city must recognize housing as a human right by expanding shelter services, subsidizing housing, and protecting renters from predatory housing practices. The city must invest and adequately support partnerships with community organizations to expand public health, violence prevention programs, and services for survivors of gender-based violence that is available to all Torontonians, regardless of where they live and their immigration status. And lastly, we need the city to hold employers and the private sector accountable by implementing equitable tax contribution policies that recognize the responsibilities of businesses, landlords, and commercial entities to our city and public services. While we stand here today urging our councillors for a comprehensive budget that works in the public's interest, we know that the city cannot work alone. We must continue to advocate for all levels of government to fulfill its obligation for a public response to the multiple, to the compounding and worsening crisis faced by our communities, because we will no longer